It's Tehachapi time. Maya Acosta, joined by David Stenstrom and James Carhart with TCTA. And we're talking about a very exciting upcoming show. So, what do we have on the docket? What are we talking about today?
Well, we're doing, beginning April 12th, we're doing a production of Murder on the Orient Express, an Agatha Christie story, probably her most famous story, and it was adapted by Ken Ludwig. He was the only writer that the estate wanted to do the rewrite. So it's got a little tongue-in-cheek and stuff, but it's the story. It's the whole story all the way through, and we're in that point where everybody's kind of running around with their heads spinning, and it's always the fun thing. I don't know why I still do it, because it's so fun. It still appeals to me. We've got a great cast, an incredible cast that are all local. They are from beginners to experienced. Daniel Franco is playing Poirot. Liz Cheedy is a long-term Tehachapian, and she is in it. Katrina Flowers, a bunch of them. So many people. There's 12 or 13 people, and but it's been interesting. If people know the story, I'll just reiterate. It's the Orient Express leaving from Istanbul, going west to Calais, and in 1934 on a snowy night. And as they all get on the train, there's mystery afoot. And Hercule Poirot is looking for a ride to England. He has to go for a case with Scotland Yard, and he, by happenstance, just shows up and gets a ticket on the train. Well, there are nefarious things happening, and there is a nefarious crime committed, and the committers had no idea he was coming. So they have to deal with it, and Poirot, in his plodding and intelligent way, catches up to the crime committers and solves the problem. It's really an interesting thing. For the people that haven't been to the BK, it's a wonderful little theater. I've been here 3 years, and I've done a couple of plays here, and it's a wonderful little spot right in the center of downtown, and with wonderful committed people. And James here with me thankfully has been my set designer for the 3 shows that I've directed. This one was challenging, wasn't it, Jim? It was.
Well, if you have been to the BK, you know how challenging it is. It's a very large theater. I say that in tongue-in-cheek, being 23 feet by 18 feet. I mean,
and in 23 feet by 18 feet, we put 2 train cars. Mm-hmm. And that's really hard to do. Since we live in Tehachapi, we know how long those are. Right. So it was, how did we design it? We said this design of the set, we would design it for a much larger theater and then figure out how to make it smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and not only that, do we have 2 train cars, but we have a restaurant. We had the train platform, and so there's a lot of things that are taking place on the stage, and not only is this play difficult from the standpoint of trying to get all these things on the stage, but also the time period, and to try and get that opulence that the Orient Express has. I mean, it was the time of all of that, and the gold and the gilt and the crystal and the beautiful fabrics and everything. And so I think that when you walk in, you hopefully will feel that. And I've got a bunch of people that have been helping me in scouring every thrift store in creation.
Yeah.
And calling me up and saying, could we get this? I said, try and get them down. Try and get them for less.
Bargain.
And then they said, but you can't bargain with goodwill.
Fair enough.
That's true.
Well, I had the chance just last week to take a little peek inside the theater where some of the set design is already going on, and Jeanette Power was doing some painting. I think she's doing some, texturing of wood design, so everything's looking really cool from what I could see so far. Now, as you were speaking about the different, how I saw the two kind of train car rooms, I guess you could say, and the painting of the front of the train. Now, is there going to be any sort of moving parts coming in and out, or is it all just stationary?
It is theater. So you come in and the set really kicks it off. It helps people to kind of transport them into another time, along with the wardrobe, which is all period from 1934. And in 1934, you remember that was the Great Depression was wrong, and that was worldwide. But this is the first class cabin on the Orient Express. So most of these people are not really affected by it. So they do reflect that, and not not vocally, but they just look really good. But the wardrobe is all, like I said, it's all period, and the authenticity of the set is really been focused in on, and that's James, and I'm very thankful that the audience, when they come in, this should start them out, and then the play will kick in and take them on a ride. Yeah. It's a ride. It's definitely a ride.
And so we're about 3 weeks out from the start of the show. How long have you guys been working on not only rehearsals but the set in itself?
Well, I mean, David and I probably had our first meetings right at the beginning of the new year.
Yeah, January, right at the top. Yeah,
and
but it's so hard to jam all that. You want this and you want that, and you want this and you want that. And we got the back of the train, we got the front of the train. How do you do that? So it's not only just, we're going to put this here and that here. It's like, how are you going to do it? Mm-hmm. And because of the size of the place and what do you focus on? That's an incredible thing. Mm-hmm. And it's the same for the actors. In the movies and the films, there were 15, 18 people that are on stage, on screen. We only have 11, but all of the whole story is just so rich with character and rich with this ensemble, these people that are all together, and it's like Perot says, here they are. They ride in the train for 3 days, and then they just disappear, and they never see each other again. Mm-hmm. But then he says, yes, unless something bad happens, and that's where we start with the play.
Yeah, and I think our initial idea was to try and pretend we had the Metropolitan stage, and just think outside the box and try and go for it, and pare back, and then we also remembered, where we were, and the trying to do stuff on a community theater budget and stuff, and still portray that opulence, and try and really get everybody to suspend their disbelief and become part of that. And so in that, we're not going to tip our hand from the moment you walk in the theater, because we don't have a huge grand drape that we can pull apart and reveal everything like in an opera or some large stages, like down in Lancaster. The LPAC has a great theater. So we're going to try and tease the audience a little, and then let them have it. And we're doing a few technological additions to the show that we haven't done before, and through the generosity of some vendors that I've worked with over the many years, they have been very kind and given me some things some toys for the show that I wouldn't normally be able to have.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful set, and everything you see on the set basically works. Exciting. And that's that's kind of a cool thing to have. So it's not that light is not just a prop. It works. Lights up. We use it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe a month or two ago, we had Chris Morales on just talking TCTA in general, and someone made the joke that this may be the first show ever done at the BK where the train passing by right there, right next to Green Street will actually be beneficial to the show, maybe.
Adds to the atmosphere. Yes, it does.
It does.
And
we can be guaranteed one will go by.
At least one. And so we'll just talk louder.
Perfect. But yeah, adds to the whole, your sound design as well, I suppose, right?
Thank you. I'm doing that, and I'm working with BNSF to try to coordinate that. So the show is not actually going to start at 7:30. It's going to start at 7:30. But
I love it. Now, from my understanding, I could be wrong, maybe 2 movie adaptions of this, or maybe there's one?
I think there's 3 or 4. Yeah.
Several.
Yeah. A bunch. Mm-hmm.
Do you utilize these movies when it comes to, adapting it for the BK stage at all? Or do you just kind of put that all out of mind and think, well, you're actually reading the play in front of you. What's coming to your mind from that?
For me, the play, every play is its own thing. And when you start doing it, it's kind of like when you're writing a journal or something, and you say, I'm going to write about this. And in the middle of writing it, you realize it's not writing that way. Mm-hmm. So when you do a play, whether it's something famous like this, when you do something like this, it's going to be what it is, number one. And you want to be true to the play. But it's like I tell the actors, like if you're taking in these words, these lines, and you're saying them back, but you're saying them not back as that character. You're saying as yourself to a certain degree. So it gives, it has to be honest. It has to be true to the play, but true to the audience, true to the actor, and so it does take some turns, and but it's still what it is, and it's still a thriller, and it's still for some, even for someone who hasn't seen it, it's a road, it's an adventure that we all take, and how do they get there this time? Absolutely. Yeah.
Now I'm curious, what drove you to want to direct this play? I mean, there's so many.
We were standing in a circle, and we had straws. And I was fortunate enough 2 years ago to direct another Ken Ludwig play called Moon Over Buffalo, and then and that worked out very well. And then the Baskerville last season was also by Ken Ludwig. So I think they thought that I would be able to do that, and that's and then the money that I paid and the begging really paid off. I think we'll see, but no, it's been an honor. It's been an honor to work with these people. I think everybody is just working so hard.
And I will say one thing. Every of these plays that David's has been doing and that I've designed for him, he does not agree to do plays that are, shall we say, easy?
No, don't like
set-wise. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Moon Over Buffalo had 6 slamming doors. I mean, people were going in and out, and another one's coming out the other side and then going in and pounding. And
the doors were all, at first they were numbered, but then I realized I can't have numbers on them because the audience is going to see the doors. So I had to figure out where these doors go. And then don't be late. You went out the wrong door. You got to go out number 4. And so it was just, it was insane. It was insane. And every time you went out the door, you slammed the door.
So I was happy at the end of the show that all the doors were still on their hinges. Still on their hinges.
Still on their hinges. And this play has doors, but they may slam them several times, but it's more important the story. It doesn't go exactly with the story.
All right.
No, he cut 2 doors for me. Yeah. He actually didn't cut any, but this one only has 4.
There's only 4. Yeah. And but everybody's busy. Oh my gosh! I mean, there's so much going on, and each each one of those people. I mean, it's a true ensemble piece that all of these people are they have these little quirks and these little things that they bring, and then the actor plays on them and builds them up, and it's fun to watch. And watch where they started and where they are now, and it's like the set. I mean, when we started, there was nothing, and so the actors were kind of, they're all over the place, and then suddenly the walls is like, we can, and then the doors, and and suddenly they're like all coloring inside the lines, and they are doing this insanity inside the lines, and so it's a controlled like experience for each one of them, and then they turn around and just. I think they're having a great time, and they all get along really, really well, and that's great. That's really cool. So
there you go. Yeah.
The fun thing with me too, for working with these plays with David, is that it's really it's a collaborative effort. I mean, because for me, the floor plan, the ground plan of these plays, if I could design something that's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and whatever, but if the floor plan doesn't function, if the most important entrance of a play is, and that door is a way off to the side and nobody sees that person come in, what good is that, even if it's pretty? And so David and I kind of, we fight like brothers, and I need this. Well, no, you can't have that because of this. Okay,
but then let's do it this way.
I see what you mean. So it's a constant, but you're always going to try and get it, whatever happens, to get it to the top, to the peak, so that when it all is said and done, you've gotten to the best place that it could possibly be. So,
and it's also with 11 people on a little tiny stage like that. And it's even smaller because now you got walls. Because I told you, remember I said they were all over the place? Now they're all, they're like confined. It's like kittens in a room. And they are just out, they are everywhere. And so it's like, okay, so you move here and that's exactly where, and you go to there. And well, he said, I said, where am I supposed to go? Well, if you can't see the audience, they can't see you. So so move where you can, it's just things like that. And it's just all these little tiny things. We're into the tiny parts right now, like we're in the squeezing, the shaving of it. And that's can be the most challenging of it, to make, because it still has to tell the story.
Sure.
So.
But it sounds like you're getting to the more exciting part of rehearsals and whatnot, where the stage, all the sets really come together.
Tomorrow night they're putting costumes on for the first time, and then they're like, I've got my costume. I'm all ready to go, and then they're all just excited and laughing and things like that. And it's just, it's exciting, it's terrifying, and it's just exactly what the doctor ordered.
Now, what are you guys looking forward to most? That first show night, what are you hoping that hits home most with the audience, or that they take away from the show?
To be entertained. To go tell somebody, you have to go see the show. I came from a small community, and we did theater there. And whenever we did a play, this was just up before COVID, but whenever we did a play, everybody came. And part of it was because it was live. It was alive. And how much TV can you watch? And then COVID came and killed all the theater, even here, and it just, because we were afraid, we were justifiably afraid. And then we come back and people are starting to come back because, it's a great evening. It's a really cool thing to do, And opening night, I think they're from opening night on, it's gonna fly, and it's gonna be just I just want them to have a great time.
And I think that for that 2 hours or so, whatever it is, that people suspend their disbelief and are in another place, and hopefully we transport them to this this place that they are on the train, and the situation that happens, and how the mystery is solved, and they engage themselves and let themselves just go into it and be part. And that's the great thing about live, is that you can give into it as much as you want, and the more you give in, the more the actors give out. And and that's again another thing, that the reaction that they get, that's something that right now it's so hard for an actor when they're on stage. When they don't get the response. If there is if you're doing a comedy and there's a joke and there's a funny part and nobody's really laughing, and
it's just crickets,
because there's just the cast, and sometimes the cast laughs, but whoever's in the audience at the time, it's still kind of what. So that first rehearsal or first performance in front of people and getting response and getting reaction, all of a sudden it's like,
oh yeah, ears perk up, don't they? They perk up. They like, oh, that was funny. I'm going to do that again, and then they start having, and then they start anticipating and listening to the audience, because the audience works just like the actors, because like you say, you suspend your disbelief and all that, and you have favorites, what about, how she's so nice, or he's so, so bad off that, and all that stuff comes together, and you're rooting for people. I also want them to forget where they are, like you say, be transformed by it, to not worry about where they're going to dinner, or did they turn off the iron? just to suspend your life and just watch something else. And it's so much more livid than television or movies. It just is.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you're saying, I mean, it's an immersive experience, and I think it's so special that we have that here in Tehachapi, being as small of a community as we are. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of that magic comes because we have so many different people from all over, the states that come here for some reason or another, and bring their talents and then add to the community theater that we have here. So I'm curious, James, how did you get into set and design? What's your background?
Oh, well, originally I wanted to be an architect, is really what I wanted to be. And then I didn't get into architectural school, and then during the summer, the draft, the lottery happened, and I was the first class of students that didn't have a student deferment. So I was going to Vietnam or something, and I ended up going to Bucknell as a civil engineer. And I said, well, I can transfer from civil engineering to architecture. And so some of that went good, and some didn't go so well. And I ended up in art. And I was doing fine art degree at Bucknell, and my friend said, "Hey, you know what? We need some more people at the theater, and you could take this drawing for the theater class, because you know how to do plans and draft and stuff like that." And I said, "Yeah, maybe I'll do that." And next thing I knew, I was designing the last musical of the year, and my professor said, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're designing it." And I said, "Oh no, I've never designed anything before. I don't know what I'm doing." He said, "Well, too bad. I guess you're going to learn." And that's when it hit, because I felt that depending on the play, I could be very architectural about it, or I could be very sculptural about it. And depending on, like a Shakespeare play that might only have one set, but things happen and build and get created by that. Or, it could be a very straight play where it's very much residential or something. And the best part is I didn't have to worry about where the air conditioning ducts go, or, are the plugs legal as far as where their spacing is? And then I went to Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh for my graduate degree, and then on to New York, and worked in New York for a little while at Circle in the Square, and was doing some operas around the country with a friend of mine. And then I moved to California when my wife got transferred out here. the time we were not married. And I came out and interviewed and got into television, but never lost the love of doing theater, because live to me is just the thing. And plays are really, really creative for me. You always have to think outside the box. Doing something, a movie set, a TV sitcom that I've done, and soap operas I worked on and stuff. They're always somebody's house, somebody's this or whatever. So it's so real, and you don't have to try and make things be something else. And so the year, and especially when you're working in small theaters, and I worked on a bunch of in LA, they're not off Broadway, but it's the same idea. And I did a lot of original plays down in Los Angeles. And here again, those were small budgets, small stages, and most of the ones I did were all original. So that was really exciting because I got to set the benchmark of what that show looked like. And I worked with some great director and producer and stuff that I'm still in contact with and stuff. And she goes, "Gosh, I wish you were still in Los Angeles." And I said, "Well, I wish you were up here." But no, it was kind of a strange road. My mother was also, she was an actress, and she was always afraid to kind of say, "You know what, maybe you might want to do theater." So, because she was always afraid then I would just say absolutely no, like my brother did. Anything she suggested, he just went the other way. And that being her love, she didn't want me to squash that. So, but when I did get into it, she was really, really excited. And her only problem was back in the 30s when she could act anybody right off the stage. She could dance rings around anybody on stage, but she could not sing. Unfortunately, you needed to be the triple threat back in the 30s for stage, and sort of in the blood, I guess.
The other thing I think that you bring to it, I think, is that in theater, as opposed to television and film, there are so many people telling their idea of how things should be, and whoever has more mojo generally gets listened to, and in theater, it's James and I, and then Jane Henry, the wardrobe person, and then the producers, and that's it. And they really leave it in James and my hands as far as what it's going to look like, as long as it's under budget. And we're going to have a meeting soon and find out how bad that lecture is going to be.
Yes, Mom. I'm
so
really
sorry.
Mean to
We feel so badly.
Well,
but it's for the love of theater.
But it's for theater.
I know.
It's for the children. No.
Soon all my hardware that I've saved like a pack rat over all the years is going to run out.
I know. Well, yeah, and our garages all look like set this because I could use that in a play. Yeah. And then your spousal unit says, "Well, are you going to get rid of that?" "Oh, I can't.
You never know. Someday.
You might. And you know what? Then it happens. And but you can't say, "Ha ha, I told you so."
Well, all the spindles on Addams Family, I saved those for 18 years. Knowing that there would be a play that needed a staircase and a railing and
spindles.
And that was about $600 worth of spindles. And we made a much more realistic looking staircase.
And then at the end of it, you took the staircase apart and you put the spindles back in storage.
Back in my garage.
For another 18 years.
No.
Hopefully not, Oh, gosh.
Well, very exciting. Now, David, you mentioned having done theater, in previous many years. What brought you to the theater world?
It's a long time ago. I was really shy. I was extremely shy. and I wasn't enough of an athlete to really, ascend. So I thought, a way out. I did it as a way out, and then it just stuck. And then I went through college and all that kind of stuff, and came to Los Angeles, work with the. I did a lot of work in the Midwest, different cities, and then I kind of thought, well, I might as well try it, in L.A. And so I worked there since '79 in film and television, and also I did a year residency in the Los Angeles Shakespeare Festival. And so we did lots and lots of plays. And like James, I did those little tiny theaters, and stayed with it. And then, when we left L.A., we went to Pine Mountain Club, and we formed the Mountain Shakespeare Festival, and did that for 15 years. And then we have come here, and man, I mean, you guys got a theater, you got a movie theater, you got a symphony, you've got music everywhere. You've got all of this really cool stuff. And in this little tiny place relatively. And and the city, fathers, my gosh, there's so, and it just looks so good and it's so well taken care of, and people are excited about here. And it's so funny because there's Bakersfield and there's Mojave and here's this thing in the middle, and people keep driving by, which is not altogether bad. Mm-hmm. Let them discover it on their own. But it's coming here has been really good for us, and the chance of doing these plays and meeting all this community that is just great. Just great. And that, having done this my whole life, it's also like I have done it, that it's been kind of nice to bring it and to give it to other people, to give them their encouragement and give them, what I can do, how I can get them to ask the right questions of themselves. And that's what it is.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And as we mentioned, I mean, but even just between the two of you, many years of experience, let alone with the experience brought by the cast members as well. So this show just sounds like it's ramping up to be something very special.
I hope so.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you didn't touch on in regards to the show? Anything else?
Well, we opened the 12th of April, and we run through the end of
4 weekends.
Yeah, up to 4 weekends.
It's first week of May, I want to say.
Yeah, and let's see. So yeah, it's that. It's tickets are only $20, and it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday matinee. And so it's and $20. I mean, you're going to do that, going through the drive-through, and it's a good experience, and it's a good thing for the family. It's a good thing for people to be proud of their city. Yeah. People talk about the BK. They talk about the German deli. They talk about all that kind of it's just the things that Tehachapi has to offer, and it should be.
Yeah.
It should be.
It's so interesting that anybody that drives downtown, I mean, the marquee on the front is pretty large, and we're starting to light it up a little bit more than it used to. But it's just always amazing to me how few people know about the BK Theater, and I think that a lot of times they think that it's a movie theater because they just maybe don't expect it. And when we're working on the productions and stuff, and I always leave the side door open if it's a nice day, and people poke their head in and say, "Oh, sorry," and I said, "No, come on in," and the number of times people just say, "Oh, I didn't know this was even here." I said, "Yeah, we do live plays here all the time." And, I said, "Well, you've got to come." And it kind of was very funny when I designed 39 Steps, and we had the two little opera boxes downstage for the play. And they said, "Oh, this is so cute, and you even have the little boxes in there." I had to laugh at it. Well, thank you very much, but we actually needed those. In the
that's
play.
what the two little old men on the Muppet Show. Yeah.
So, but I think the podcast, this podcast is growing in popularity and everything, and I listen, and it's people. I hope we can promote it more different ways than we can, and the podcast has helped, and the podcast is a good thing for a lot of people to spread the word about, because there's a lot of good information that comes out of this, and so I hope we did a good job today, and people. I
hope so. I gotta say, the actors are all from here, and I did the first. Moon Over Buffalo was the first play after COVID. That was, I think, wasn't that the first play?
I think
Nonsense ended up, but they had already opened. They opened before COVID, didn't they?
Mm-mm.
Oh, they didn't.
They were going to.
They were going to, but they didn't. So it was people were still kind of afraid to be out amongst other people.
Right.
So it was, and that the auditions were a little frightening, because it was like, well, here's one person. Oh, good. Well, I only have 8 more to go. Oh, here's 2 people. The next day it was like, it was like, and I was new here, and I thought, oh, well, this is inspiring. and then we filled it out, and we had this wonderful cast, all locals and all wonderful from all different walks of life, and newbies and experienced, and then so the popularity of the audition process of coming out has grown here, and people are coming out and realizing, the theaters here take a shot. I've got a number of people who have never done a theater project before, ever, and they've always wanted to do it, and so they're having this great time. And plus, you've got the high school has wonderful theater things going. So there's so much opportunity for people of all ages, that if they have a desire to try something, you can do it here, and it's not too scary.
Right. Not too risky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's plenty to learn.
And the people that come are going to be your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole idea of it. This is the first theater I've worked in where the cast goes out and greets the audience at the end of the show. And people are here. They are here, and they're down for that, and it's great to see that kind of response.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So, but it is general admission, so it's $20, and it's like the Southwest flight. You got to get there, and if you want a particular seat, you head on in, and there's so much great food downtown, so it's a whole evening of stuff, and and in 15 minutes for most people, you're kind of home, So it's a great commute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to do downtown, just as you were saying, whether it's dinner or checking out some wineries or breweries after. Tehachapi, it's growing in its nightlife here a bit. There's things to do, and the theater is a vital part of that. So
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Again, once more, Murder on the Orient Express, April 12th. TCTAonstage.com. You can buy tickets, or in the box office.
No, actually, it's all online.
All online. I take it back.
Mm-hmm. TCTAonstage.com.
Wonderful.
Isn't that it? I think that's it. Yeah.
Easy. Simple way to just go buy your tickets and be on your way to a nice, fun night here in a few weeks. I thank you both for coming in and sharing more about the show. I am excited. I'm going to hop on my computer and buy a ticket now after this. You've convinced me.
Okay.
We did our job.
Yes. We did it. We'll get a treat when we get back.
Ah, yes.
Give us a treat now.
Now we got to go.
Now we got to go back and work.
Now we got to go paint.
Now we got to paint. Yeah. Got to work on the audio tape. Yeah.
But for all the fun that is in store, it is well worth it.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. When you see people laughing, when you see people agog. Their faces, they're shocked at this, that, and the other thing. It's a hoot, and it's great for the actors. They have no idea. It's so fun. They have no idea how much fun they're going to have. Oh my gosh, it's just a hoot.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go off again. Okay.
I am excited for this all, and anybody listening, if you have any questions or comments, whatever it may be regarding the show or the podcast, you can email us media@TehachapiCityHall.com, and I'll get your questions and comments to the right place. And again, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
And excited to see the show here in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you back here next time on Tehachapod.
This is Tehachapi. This is Tehachapi. This is Tehachapi.